Hi, I'm Colleen Kernan with Tuscan Women Cook, and we're here on our final day for Cooking with Komen and the California, New York Susan G. Komen Metastatic Conference. I have been beyond grateful and thankful and blown away by this conference and the amount of content and informative content there has been, and I'm just really inspired is also a word. I'm a 15-year survivor, and I was early detection, and you saw any of the other videos I mentioned it. I was lucky enough to have an OB/GYN who told me to get ultrasounds but starting to get ultrasounds when I was in my 30s because I have dense breasts. So that's a thing, right? And we know this in this world now that dense breasts are a thing. So I was really fortunate. So it's early detection. I still did do pretty heavy doses of radiation, almost 2 months. And it was a scary time. I had little kids. I was younger. And so I feel for you. I know that most of the people watching are in treatment, I believe, from what I saw. And you're going through a lot. And I just want you to know there's a huge community out there for you. And I urge you to take advantage of these, the people that want to help and the resources that are there. I was really reticent to talk about it first because I just didn't want to, I don't know. I didn't really want to talk about it. I thought I could probably just get by and not tell anybody. And a really dear friend of mine said, you can't do that. Because once I knew I didn't have to have chemo, I thought, okay, nobody can see my red breast from radiation. And I was young, so I was strong. And, I could do radiation. So I, feel and recognize that I needed to put myself out there to help other people. And that's how I got involved with Sharon Schlesinger and Susan G. Komen. I had no idea what it was. And we hosted a fundraiser. It turned out great and have just kind of been involved with Komen since then. My work with Tuscan Women Cook takes me to Italy, or me, in the spring and the fall for several weeks to take our guests. We cook in the morning with our nonnas. And then we tour in the afternoons of the beautiful countryside of Tuscany. And we have 5-star meals and we meet amazing people. We taste wines and olive oils, and it's just an amazing trip. However, I have been grounded this year of 2020. We weren't able to go in the spring, and we're not able to go this fall. We're hoping for next spring, and we'll do our best and make it the wonderful trip that it is. It's really a top tier trip. And we'll want to make sure that it's all 5-star going forward. So I'll have to do some due diligence over there, which will be great. And I hope you guys can join us. We've got a lot going on today. We also have Tuscan Women Cook has a cookbook coming out. And we're really excited about that. We're almost finished. It's going into production. If you want to get on the list for a notification when it's ready, just www.tuscanwomencook.com, and there's actually a little tab for the cookbook. So that's fun. We're also it's our last day, and it's been really fun to we have these giveaways. So we've given away some of our Tuscan Women Cook dish towels. All you need to do is send us a photo of one of the recipes with you in it, and don't be fancy. Just take a picture. It doesn't have to be cordon bleu, because it's not. That's what we're all about here today and every day, really, at my kitchen, is just to make it easy and fun, as healthy as you can. Sometimes we splurge and add some butters and things like that. But for the most part, I just really want it to be the least amount of ingredients for you and the least amount of time for the most amount of flavor. Because if you are in treatment or somebody's taking care of you, food is important. And sometimes you don't feel like eating. And I get it. And your brain is so full. But we need to eat, and it's nourishment, and it comes from the earth, and we need to be part of that. So I know that I started cooking. I realized just because that's how I show love. I don't know how to paint. I don't know how to do anything. I can't really do anything else, to be honest. But so the other thing we have going on today is the Valerie Bertinelli. She was such a sweetie, and gave us one of her Dutch ovens. It's the cast iron enamel clad. It's her own, and they're not in stores anymore. And I have one, and it is absolutely my favorite. And I told her I wanted to, even before this, I really wanted to talk about her Dutch oven because it is a superior product. Honestly, I like it better than my Le Creuset, which I love. I'm using this today because it's bigger and it's orange for Halloween, but it's bigger today is what we need. So she's given us this beautiful Dutch oven. It comes with recipes that are her own, and it comes with 2 lids. So it's got the clear lid, which is really nice because I use this a lot. And then it's also got the cast iron lid. So when you're really braising and slow, and it's got this to collect the moisture, it's great. So if you want to win this, you need to send us a photo, and you can send it to Colleen, Coleen, at Tuscan Women Cook, a photo of you with one of the dishes we've prepared. And we've done about, I think, 3 or 4 per session. So there's however many recipes on there, and they're really good. They're easy, easy, easy. Last week we did, Monday we did holiday appetizers. So, and easy. These are not trying to recreate the real. We just want to be really fun for you and as quick and easy as possible. One of the things we didn't get to because of the weather was I promised to do a grilling class, which is how this whole relationship kind of started as far as cooking for Komen. I had a fun, just very fun, please don't judge, series of grilling classes over the summer and into September, actually. And they're going to be posted later today. So it'll be a montage of those grilling classes. And there's a lot of really good food on there. One of my favorites is like a roasted trout, roasted on the grill in my barbecue. And you stuff it with lemons and herbs. And it's just something about it with the skin. And it's just one. I love that recipe. So there's lots and lots and lots on there. So I think that's later today, but you'll have to look and see when it is. So that's really fun. Go to that. And all right, so we have a lot to do today. It's Halloween tomorrow. Very exciting. So whatever that looks like, I am going to give candy away because it's Halloween. And so what our neighborhood we're going to do is do kind of an Easter egg hunt. So that I'm not touching it and not just putting a whole bowl of candy. I had kids. I know how that goes. You know, most of them are good. Some just dump it in their bowl, and we've seen it. So I didn't want to do that. So we're doing kind of an Easter egg hunt, so the kids can get their own, and it'll be fun. So they're actually doing something in their costumes, and we just can't. We have to have some fun here. We really do. I think we're really all starved for just a little levity. And all right, so here we go. Today we are going to make chili, but I'm going to give you my secrets. I've never given them to anybody. And I have won chili cook-offs for many, many years. And I developed, well, actually, the recipe I originally got, you should see it. I should show them. Okay, so this was the original recipe that came from a girlfriend, and it was from the Pacific Dining Car. It was a riff on the Pacific Dining Car chili, which was really good. She liked it, and she asked the chef for the recipe. This was 20 years, maybe 20 more years ago. And so the recipe that I'm going to give you is his original recipe, and with my tricks thrown in. So then I did this, and then I forgot to take notes the first year, and then I won my first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I did. So I had to keep notes. So this just cracks me up. And so this is in 2008, 2009, 2010. And you get the picture. So this has been going on for years and years. And so because I won the first time, I kind of take my chili a little bit more seriously than I should, just because that's how it started. And I know chili just is easy. I overthink it, which is really rare for me, but I have got it. I have it down now to what it needs to be and the easiest way it could be with the best amount of flavor. So what we're going to do, and here's the trick. So we've got 4 pounds of, I use sirloin, but you don't have to use that. I do because, like I said, I want it to be the same. And ask your butcher to put it into a 1-inch dice. It makes it a lot easier to do. And so here's the secret. I make a blend, and you can do whatever you want. I actually make a kind of a proprietary spice blend for friends at the holidays this one's just easy, easy, easy. It's just 4 tablespoons chili powder, 4 tablespoons of cumin, and the seasoned peppers. I really like that seasoned pepper. If you don't know where to get it, let me know, but I get it at Smart and Final, but it comes in this huge thing. But I use it a lot, and I use it on a lot of things. Really like it. So taking this blend, I've covered the meat with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to sear the spices into the meat. So that's one trick. Normally what you would do is, I got to get these going here. Talking too much again. So this is where the chili's going to go. This is where the meat's going to go. Oh, Christ. Let's see. I'm going to move this burner because I click and click for a while because I just cleaned the stove and sometimes the water gets in there. All right, so I'm going to heat the oil in both of these. And so normally what you do in your chili, and again, like if I've done bean chilies and things like that, I would do it the traditional way. But when you're cooking the meat, normally it calls for you to put your onions and your peppers and your garlic in there and get those cooked, and then put your meat in and brown it. You could do that. Here's what would happen with my method. So the way I like to do it is in a separate pan, because that way they really sear in. I might not do all this meat because it's the right amount, but this is why. So I'm also going to try to do a tofu version for my husband. So I've set aside some, and I roasted some tofu. So we're going to do a veggie one, and I'll put the recipe on there too. We'll see how that turns out. It kind of seems like an oxymoron, tofu chili, but okay. We are supportive over here at Chez Coco. So we are going to so we'll heat these up. If you were to put like a traditional recipe, like I used to make it before when I was in college, let's say, you put your onions and I started to say this, and then you put your meat into brown, and the meat wouldn't have been seasoned, and it would have just been just raw meat, right? So this way, you could do it my way, which is take this and just put it in the pot, but what's going to happen is the liquids from the peppers and the onions and a little bit of garlic is going to moisten up the meat, and then it won't have that sear. So, okay. All right. So let's get the onions going here. So we're just going to put, this is 3 cups of onions, which is generally about 5 onions. I find that you get a little bit less than a cup. Just put it in the garage. And then the equal amount of chopped red peppers. Yeah. And then get those going. Here's the second secret of the award-winning chili, and here's my trophy, one of my trophies. Fun. The second trick is to roast your garlic. So this calls for, I think it's about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. But what I like to do is roast it, and I wanted to show you, probably know how to do this. So you just put it in olive oil, 400, 350, whatever. Close this up, roast it for however long you're doing something. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 30, it could be however long you think. It's more than 20. And then they just kind of, they just squeeze out. So I just wanted to show you this, but they just squeeze right on out. Make sure you don't get the paper in there. So I've squeezed most of this out, but I wanted to show you how to do it if you don't already know. So I'm going to throw in I wish you could smell it in here, because this combination of spices smells just like fall, and it's just makes it mouth-watering, really. All right, so now these peppers are going in. So the onions and the peppers have a similar texture, so they could ostensibly be cook at the same time. So sometimes I like to have my onions really cooked through. We talked about this another time because I really like to get the sting out of it. Onions, sometimes the white onions especially have a real pungent, bite, and it's not always. It sometimes overpowers things. So really try to cook those down. And because this garlic's roasted, it's not really going to burn. So I'm going to put this in just as soon as these get glistening. I think, but I want to show this to you. It's starting to look real good. And it smells good. And then once this gets cooking, actually I should probably put this meat in here, but I need another utensil for that. Oh, look at this. And this might be a little hot, and I don't want it to splatter too much. Just gonna let it cool down a second. As you can see, when it gets nice and glistening, you just don't want to get a super splatter on here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so, well, I'm actually going to do all of the meat today. We'll see, because it really cooks down, but I'm going to have to do this in batches. Otherwise, it's going to steam and not really roast, right? So we're just right now trying to get a kind of a crust on here, and nothing big, and don't overcook it. It's going to be in here for a long time, and I wish I had made you one in advance because I really like to cook this down. Especially, you don't want to spend the money for sirloin. You don't need to. You really don't. You can use any kind. I've made a white chili with turkey, ground turkey. You could use pork. You can use chicken chili with corn. I mean, there's a million combinations, and you've probably made them. But because of this, my past experience and trauma, and also the pot that I make it in is this big, and it's huge. And so my utensils, I should show you the stirring utensils, and they're just gigantic. So this is really one of the first times I've made this in scale. So it's been kind of nice. And I probably don't make it as often as I should because I'm overwhelmed. But I don't need to be because this is really, really easy. And again, you don't even need to put meat in this if you don't want to. I'm having a couple over tonight, and he is a big carnivore, and I know he'll really like this. And the other thing he's going to like is we're going to make some brownies. And I don't know about you, but if you ever use this, you'll never go back. It is the easiest, the best. This is not an endorsement, but it is. There's no reason to make your own brownies, other than they're great and you should, and they're lovely. And especially if you're a baker, you're used to that. This is foolproof, and I've used a lot of box things before, and I don't like any of them except for this one. So we're going to make those for Carrie too. And I roasted some pecans that I'm going to finish chopping and put those in there. In the meantime, we'll get this meat going. And again, this doesn't need to be cooked till it's not pink anymore, because just get the outside, because it's going back in here. This is the purpose of this, is to sear the flavors into the meat, not to cook it. So I'm going to cook it. I think I'm making a lot of noise, but oh wait, you know what? Sorry about that. The garlic, but that's okay. And then you can use we're gonna finish this off with some whole tomatoes, about a pound of whole tomatoes. And I'm gonna show you another little trick on that one too. If you've watched this class, you know I'm a big fan of the canned tomato, but we're not doing that today because we're using tomato juice. And the way these flavors meld together is really nice. All right, so those guys in there. And a funny story is, one of the cook-offs I was in, it was at my kid's school. And it was so fun. It was really fun to do that. And my girlfriend Sue and I did Valley Girl chili. And she's the one who gave me the original recipe, she got it from the dining car. But there was one award. So you had two awards. There was a judges award, People's Choice Award, and the Fireman's. And I wanted to win that Fireman's Award like nothing else, and I never did. And the one time I really set myself on winning it that year, I was so determined. I just messed it up. I added too much. I tried to add some sugar because I heard that might be good, like a little brown sugar. Oops, should have done that. And it just came out like syrup. It was terrible. And I don't know, maybe the judges I still won that one, but I never got the Fireman's, never. So, and now the kids have aged out of that. I haven't gone back, but there is a good one here in Malibu. It's a really big one. And we're going to do that this year. Well, not this year, but it was supposed to be a Labor Day weekend. And Sue and I were signed up for it, but like other things, it's not meant to be this year. So, all right. Let's this down. I really do want to put all the meat in here, so I apologize. It's going to take a little bit longer, but we have time. So I would love to know if any of you guys have a foolproof onion chopping method, because nothing works for me. My eyes are pure red today because nothing works. And if you have something, please, from your grandma, your Nona, your Mimi, whatever you call her. And I'm overcrowding this pan because I'm lazy, but don't do what I do. Just do what I say. Normally I wouldn't put all this meat in here, but I am today because I want to get this going. So here we go. All right, so again. Yay! And also, let me know if you are doing something for Halloween that we could use the ideas for, where everyone's scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. Fortunately, in California, you can go outside, so you do. And let's see what happens. But I know that it's not a political statement if you just want to get some candy. So, all right. Well, while we wait for this meat to brown, I'm having flashbacks of these pots that are, because I would do the same thing, but in two different pots. So the meat was in one, doing this thing, and then the other thing was in this one. And honestly, it's a workout. So what we're going to do after we add all the meat is we're going to add about a pound of tomatoes. For this recipe, I like to use these plum tomatoes, and I'm going to show you why. You may know. And also you may know that a serrated knife cuts your tomatoes better than other knives. So if you just cut it right through the center, here's my little go thing. And if you get it, I just use my hands. But you can use, my hands are clean. You can use a spoon, or, if you have manicures and you don't want to mess up your hands, which I don't, but you can do that. And the acid might be pretty bad for the nail polish, I'm not sure. So you just scoop it out. And this way you don't need to seed them. And I'm not a big fan of peeling tomatoes in general, but for some really fine recipes, yes. But for chili, absolutely not. And it's laborious too. So I don't see the need to do that. Okay, here we go. So then you're just going to take your tomato, and we're just going to quarter it, or I guess this would be, we're just going to dice it, and then we'll add it in. There's a little piece we don't want. And again, we're not a big fan of wasting anything here, so we're going to use every piece of this. Like when I cut the peppers, it has that cap. Sometimes if you cut the pepper, I don't have any left, but cut that little top off, and it's really kind of cute. You can use it to roast it and stuff it. It's really a cute little thing. Today I just I cut them up and added it to the peppers. Oops. Now, that's that. And Here we go. And if you guys, I think this is a good recipe for Halloween. It'll be posted on both the Huva website, Komen website, and you can always email me and get them too. So we've been really excited about this book, and so we've been in the kitchen just cooking because you also have to cook for the book, which is fun. And I learned a lot about food styling and the tricks they use, which is kind of interesting. We were on a morning show, and we had somebody helping the lady on set. We were on a news morning show in Los Angeles and Florida, actually. But the stylist, to brown a chicken, they take the flame broiler. What those things do you creme brulee with? And a handheld flame. And the producer of the TV show came running over screaming because if there was, because it's a huge studio with all the cameras and lights and yada, yada, yada. And if they had if the smoke alarm went off, it would trigger like a $3 million event because everything shuts down. And if the fire sprinklers came on, so we were just frozen because she was screaming, and we didn't know. But anyway, that's how they broil. If you see a browned chicken, we didn't do it in our recipe, but that was for the news show. Okay, so I am actually going to put all this meat in here. Do it a little empty way because all that juice is going to go in there, and that's going to be yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm going to incorporate this. And this is going to be really good. I'm just going to make sure this is all mixed in. My big spoon. Sorry. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. All right, now we're going to add our tomato. And again, we talked about this. I did these in 1-inch dice, or had the butcher do it. This is, you want it to be, because these are going to shrink down a fair amount, probably about almost 30%. You want it to be something you want to bite into. I'm not sure I'd want to bite into a big piece of meat like this in a chili. But it depends on who you are. You know, at the chili cook-offs, it's funny to see what some chilies are. I saw one that was they had a chocolate chili. There was one that, like the green chilies. There was a coconut chili. That's kind of out there, but out there it was. So here we go. So now I'm going to add a little bit of this mixture, but because the quantities that I gave you, the 4 tablespoons and all that, and the seasoned pepper, I've already coated the meat in that. So I'm not going to use this whole amount. But this would normally, if you don't want to do the meat this way, and you don't have to, I'm just going to put a little bit in here because more is better, but there you go. And something else. Okay, now here's where this gets fun. The acids, next thing we're going to do is put in about 2 cups of tomato juice. The acids are going to break down the meat, and this is where the fun starts, and the science end of it. So I'm just going to do about half of this because this is 4 cups. I'm going to do a little bit more because that's a lot of meat. And just this here. This baby just go do her thing. So I'm going to show it to you, but I need to see what that looks like. You can add more tomato sauce, and tomato juice. And also, if you find your liquid after this cooks, this is going to cook for a couple hours actually, because this meat, I really want it to break down. I really want it just to be a really tender bite. If you are not wanting to cook it that long and you want to bring it up faster, you could just use some tomato paste. I like these kind because I think they're a little bit more concentrated, and also you can use it again. Once you use a can of tomato paste, that we used our whole life, it's done. So sometimes you only need a little squirt and you put the cap back on and put it back in the fridge. So I highly recommend this kind of tomato paste. So, all right, let's start this tofu thing, which I find interesting. Okay. I'm going to put the lid on this, but a little bit open. And here we go. Probably need this too. This. Put some water in it because I'm lazy and I do not want to scrub this later. Okay. Well, we'll see if this burner lights. So this tofu one is basically going to be the same thing. However, I feel like I learned something because I've never made tofu chili before. So that's down. Same process. We're going to put some oil in here. And so what I did, similar to the meat, I took the tofu, I drained it, I used extra firm, thinking, okay, it needs to have a bite to it. And did the small pieces, and I roasted it with the same spice that we're using for the chili. My sense is that these aren't going to hold up in a chili. I mean, they need salt. They might, but I don't think so. So we'll see. That said, I would probably fry these first, or pan fry them, not deep fry necessarily, but really get that skin a little more bite to it. But you know, it's his idea to eat plant-based, so you have to go with it. All right, so we're gonna heat up this oil. And for Steve's tofu chili, I used these cherry tomatoes because I thought they might be a nice kind of a good bite together with these, because these won't break down as much as these chopped up plum tomatoes. So, all right. Okay. And I'm also going to put a little thyme in there at the end. Got thyme, and I'm going to plant this. So I bought one of those kinds you can put in the dirt. Hopefully, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I always try, but let's see. All right, let's get our. And I have not salted. I could have salted the meat because that's a good thing to do, to try to almost brine it a little bit. I didn't because I was trying to really be healthy. The people that are coming over for this chili, well, they're coming over anyway, but they, I know that he has a little bit of high cholesterol, blood pressure, I think it is. So I remember something, he's like, oh, does this have salt? On another dish I prepared, and I said, not just a little. He's like, oh, I can't really have a lot of salt. So I think I'm going to put in the recipe, and I think it calls for that you should salt the meat when you do the spices. Okay. This is hot, and again, it's a little too hot for my flavor for the onions, because then you don't want your onions to brown. So some recipes, for sure, I do a lot of caramelized onions, and because they really get sweet, and then I don't have that very flavor. But for this, no, and you just don't want them to brown, because it also, the texture won't break down as well. So they were a little bit hot, so I just took it off the heat before we're gonna. Oh, you know what? I was supposed to use some of those peppers for Steve's, but maybe won't know. Okay, so I'll just get these going. And this spoon I was using to stir that, in a real vegetarian world, you would never do what I just did, which is stir the meat and then stir this. He's not a vegetarian, or a vegan, but if I had a vegan or vegetarian guest, I would not stir the meat and use the same spoon for the onions. I think you gotta be really respectful of that. I was supposed to use some of that roasted garlic too. All right, but we have some really cute. We're gonna serve our chili in these beautiful. Well, we cook up the onions on the tofu chili. We're going to serve our chili in these. So adorable. Amory's letting us borrow these too. She's quite the stylist. And these are adorable. These you could bake in too. This could be a really cute crumble. Ooh. I wonder if maybe I should put the brownies in here. Anyway, so this would be a great little pumpkin gooey crumble thing, and easy peasy. Just use that, you know, you've probably done it before, but just a can of pumpkin and some egg, some sugar, and stir it up, and then make a crumble with oatmeal or whatever you make a crumble out of, and pop that in the oven. I might borrow these for today. All right, our onions are going. They look good. The tomatoes are going to go in now. I really should cut up some garlic for him, but I just don't have things. You got to do it right. I don't want to skimp, and I do want this tofu chili to turn out. I don't want him, you know, I want it to be almost as good as it would be. You're never going to get the same unctuousness, flavor that you would of your umami that the meat's going to cook into it, but you know, you got to try. And you know, maybe we'll see. I don't know. Again, I think I would definitely pan fry the tofu. It'd be better. But I'm gonna just do this with my hands, because I don't think my knife will carry all the way over there. But there you go. So we'll just get the garlic, and again, this garlic's not roasted, so I'm just going to get it up to just a minute or so, just to get that fragrance out of there. I'm sure you guys know this trick about taking the skin off the garlic, which you just smash your knife on it and the skin comes off. Your hands don't smell too good, and I don't. If you guys know of a really good hack for garlic, let me know, because I end up smelling like a pizza factory. All right, he likes garlic, so I'm going to add some more. So, there, with your garlic on your hands, I've read and tried to, if you rub something like under running water, like a stainless steel trick, you can try that. They have those eggs and things like that, but it kind of works. It actually works a little bit. All right, so this is feeling good. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm trying to think if where I can find some red pepper for Steve in the tofu chili. I'm going to run to my. Sorry, I'm going to run to my pantry really fast. I know. Okay. What I was looking for was canned or jarred roasted red peppers, which if you looked at one of our other classes, we did a pantry class where I gave you suggestions to stock your pantry so you'll always be able to make whatever it is you need to make in a jiffy. And roasted red peppers is one of those things, but I just use them on Monday for something else. So we are going to be pepperless here, but I'm just trying to think what could be a substitute for that flavor-wise. Because we're already using chili pepper, so this is just going to be what it is. And that's the thing about cooking, is just go with it, be easy, don't sweat it. So here are his tomatoes can go in, and so that. And again, these aren't gonna. This isn't gonna cook up for hours and hours. This is gonna be done in 5 minutes because, well, not 5, but it's gonna be done really quickly. The tofu's already cooked, so I just want to get these tomatoes soft. Well, anyways, if anybody has any suggestions on what a good red pepper, other than flakes, which we're already using here, we're going to, I'd be curious to know. So just email me, Colleen@TuscanWomenCook. And I'm not gonna put all that in there because it's a small amount. Actually, I'm gonna put the rest of it in here. Oh, that looks good. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that, Emery?
Yep.
Doesn't that look good? Okay. So, Steve's tofu chili. Here's this. This is liquidy, and it's going to break down, and it's going to thicken up. It's not going to thicken up enough for sure. And for this one, I will use the tomato paste. This one is going to cook so long, it's already looking great. I might even add more liquid to this because it's going to cook so long. And again, I want this meat to be just falling off the bone, just a bite, a perfect bite. In Italy, we make a meat sauce that will blow you away. And the secret to that is, and you'll have to come and, it's in our cookbook, but I will tell you, when you make your sugo or your Sunday sauce or your gravy, like a lot of families call it, that you're just cooking up your sauce on Sunday, you cook your meat similar to this, where you put it in until it's not pink, and then you add your acids. But what we do is and if you could see our Nonna Ada who does this, she's just beautiful. And she's been cooking since she was 12. And she's in her late 80s, and she is strong, as you can imagine. And she has a big pot, and we use a ground meat. We use ground beef and ground pork. And we don't use veal. I know some people do, but our meat cooks so long, veal it loses everything. It loses texture, it loses flavor. It can't hold up to that type of heat. And so we have a big pot, and just cook it down. And she already minces the mirepoix, the celery, onions, and carrots. It's minced when it goes in. That's the first thing that goes in. And then the meat goes in, and the big thing of oil. And that cooks for over an hour. And by the time when it's ready for the acids to go in, the wine and the tomato sauce, which is of course their own tomato sauce, it is a beautiful caramely brown. And then that cooks for another 4 hours, 2 to 3 to 4, whatever, however much time you have. So that is a really special dish, and we use it on many, many things. But also we use it for our pasta al forno, which means pasta in the oven. Al forno means oven, and that is what we call lasagna. But our pasta al forno is nothing like lasagna you have here. The pasta al forno that we make is about the pasta and the sauce. And we have a bechamel. You may have had it like that. It is so delicious. There's not a bunch of cheese oozing out. There's not a bunch of red sauce everywhere. It's a beautiful meat sauce and 6 to 8 layers of thin pasta. And you bite into that with the bechamel, and it is absolute heaven. And I'm dying to have some because I'm grounded here, but happy to, because normally I'm gone, like I said, in all of October. And I haven't been able to do what I want to do with Coleman because for the October month. So usually I do things that I can do in the spring when I'm here with Coleman. And so the walk is coming up too. So keep your eye peeled for that. There's so many ways you can help. I am going to put some of this tomato paste in here. Not a lot. Maybe that's probably about a tablespoon. What we do in Italy too, you could do, if you need more of your sauce, the smart thing, I learned this in Italy, before I'd squeeze, especially when I was doing the big vats of chili, I'd definitely use a couple of these, like 3. Cut this end off, squeeze it out that way. Simple. All right, so this looks good. I want this to thicken up and let the tomato paste do its job. Some people add a can of beer to help break down the meat. I think because I season it the way we do and sear it, it doesn't need it. So I don't really abide by that. Actually, I think I did that year. I didn't win the fireman's, but I added a can of or a bottle of Guinness. It was just a disaster for me, anyway. All right, so this is looking good. I'm going to add the chili flakes to Steve's tofu. Just a little, because this is not very much. Just a little pinch. And he likes spicy food, so. And then I'm going to put a couple. In this one, I think I'm going to put for his, I'm going to take some time off. Oops, some time off. And I'm also going to put a couple sprigs in there because I think this tofu is going to need some help. Even though it's really spiced up, I just don't know how it's going to have that kind of. So I'll take that kind of real chili taste. That, and then I'll pull these out when I'm going to let them sit because this is cooking. This is a really nice. I'll show you. It's starting to come together as far as the viscosity that we're looking for. And once we add this tofu, it's really going to do that. So I'm going to probably, yeah. Actually, I want this to cook a little bit more. Just get it going. And if you have a favorite chili, I would love to hear it. Love to hear about it. And I'm always open. And again, I'm trying to take myself less seriously in the chili department. I take myself zero seriously in everything else. So I'm happy to share this with you today. I'm going to put this in. And this is going to be finished. So that if you're interested in a fast meal, the only thing, roasting it took some time, but I was just sitting there, doing other things. So that didn't take any time at all. So there you go. And I probably will salt this. And before I start it, I'll pull these sticks of thyme out. But right now they can sit in there and keep this thing up. Perfect. Okay, so this is going. You always want to check this because these pans, these vessels are so hot and heavy, which is great. And even on low, they get going. And so you really kind of have to pay attention. The good thing is the moisture will come gather in here and drop down in. So you don't have to be crazy, but you have to watch it a little bit. All right, so now we're going to make some brownies, and that's going to take 10 seconds. So I'm going to preheat. I think it's 325 is what they say. I'm going to take, this is called box. It's quarter cup of water, vegetable oil, and eggs. So I usually mix the liquids and the eggs together. So it's quarter cup of water. I made these brownies the other day because we had made caramel. I don't know if it was for here. And a third a cup of vegetable oil. 1 egg. And always put your egg in something. It's not probably big enough. Because you never know with eggs. Most of mine come from the farmer's market, but you never know. And even the supermarket, you never know what could happen. So always put it in something first. So I'm going to mix these liquids. And that way, mostly the reason to do this, I don't think it calls for doing that on the box, but the reason to do that would be to make sure the egg is incorporated fully and evenly. That's the problem that happens a lot. I'm just kidding. It happens a lot with baking, and that's why they say make sure the egg, do it this and that, and one at a time. You just want to make sure there's continuity there. I'll probably frame this. I should definitely make a copy of it. Anyway, okay, so this is good. And then you're not going to go crazy mixing this. Just gets together till it's together. And so easy. Oh, I wish you could smell this too. All right. I just use a fork. You don't need to go nutty. And just incorporate it. We don't want to over mix it. Just going to get this going. I'm going to just till it's mixed. Make sure you get the bottom. Yeah, this couldn't be easier, honestly. Especially if you're like today. Well, now I think I'm going to do that pumpkin thing. So I think we will. And I'll put that up there too. Just a pumpkin. One of the cook recipes I've seen, they call it a pumpkin gooey. I don't remember who it is. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't know who's the stars anymore, other than I'm a big fan of Valerie Bertinelli because she's amazing. She came to our class with her husband and her 2 friends, and we had a ball. She is as nice as she is on TV, and that's who she is. All right, so I'm going to finish. I toasted these pecans. And I'm not going to be, they can just be roughly chopped. And you can do a lot of things. What I said the other day was I poured half of the brownie, and then I put half of caramel, and then the rest of the brownie, so that it had a caramel inside. So that was great. I'm going to not do it like that this time because the pecans just need to be mixed in. This is an 8x8, and I just sprayed it with, cooking spray. You could butter it if you want to. Just get these in. So I didn't mix this stuff all the way because I knew I had to mix more with the pecans. So I didn't want to over mix knowing. And even when you do chocolate chip cookies and stuff like that, I always wait, just under mix it a little before you add your additions, because those extra swipes can sometimes make a big difference in your final product. So people that are coming over tonight, he loves desserts, and he's gonna love this. He's gonna think that I made this by hand, and I'm gonna tell him the truth, but it'll be fun. And he's so grateful every time they come over. He's just like one of the best guests to ever have. All right, so this is just gonna go to the corners. I don't think the oven's 325 yet. And you could do a million things with this too. Peanut butter, there's so many ways to find information too, but I highly recommend it. In that way, if you want to go crazy with your additions, you'll have time. You can use this box. I think there's one lady chef or cook who, I think I was on something with her, and she uses boxed everything. I forget her name, but Sandra Lee. Is that okay? So I know that I haven't seen it for a while, but that is the idea. Just make it easy. Don't think the oven's 325 yet. And it is not. So that's it. So we had a big day today. Lots of things going on. We have our chili with our meat chili with 2 secret methods, which is the garlic and the meat. And then we have our tofu chili and boxed brownies. Don't forget, send us a photo. I am going to do the pumpkin crumble on this because how cute would that be? She'll be so happy. And then the Valerie Bertinelli giveaway. So send us a photo with your recipe that you made, and don't try to make it. So we're not going from the presentation. It's just that you made it and want to see what you made. And same thing. Send it in. Get a Tesca Woman Cook towel, and feel free to go to our website, TescaWomanCook.com. And also, again, thank you, Susan Komen and the Susan G. Komen LA to New York Metastatic conference that I've just been so grateful to be part of. And I hope you guys have a very safe and healthy rest of this year. And here's to 2021 and your recovery and your health and your safety. Thank you again.